Okay then, what up friendos? Welcome back. We're talking today about EVE Online, one of the oldest running sandbox MMORPGs, something that kind of set a legacy and a standard for when people would say sandbox MMOs can't work, indie MMOs can't work. EVE kind of disproved both those things. It's been running for forever basically at this stage. It's often referred to lovingly, sometimes not lovingly, as a spreadsheet simulator because it's a very in-depth economical game that's kind of solved, and because of the sandbox nature people play it very interestingly in terms of like markets and how they're going to spend their time in game. Basically, EVE Online's development company CCP have had a really rough time over recent years trying to do anything other than EVE, which is a game that obviously has like a diehard fan base, a population that's been around for forever, like the game has. And anytime they've tried to do something else, it's failed. But obviously the company has over time been taken over ownership-wise by another company, I believe. Pearl Abyss owned them. Yeah, there you go. I'm not misremembering that. Pearl Abyss acquires CCP Games, maker of EVE Online. Pearl Abyss, of course, being the South Korean company that makes Black Desert Online. And ever since then, people have gone back and forth of like, oh, is the monetization getting worse? Is the game getting worse? Things like that. But nothing has quite, I guess, inflamed the community quite as much as what we've got today, which is EVE players are in revolt over CCP's blockchain plans. Quote, "None of us want this crypto slop." Now, obviously, most gaming people don't want crypto slop as it is, but I'm going to try and give, as much as I can, some kind of like balanced, interesting take on this. I'm obviously of the opinion that cryptocurrency cannot work in gaming, and we're going to go over that in a minute just because we've got no examples of it actually working and what it kind of devolves into over time or even from the very beginning. But basically what's happening here is CCP was invested in to the tune of like $40 million or something, if I remember rightly, with the speculation obviously being that money was going to build a new game, and that new game has turned out to be, which was rumored months and months ago, I think I did a video of it on at the time, that it was going to be some kind of blockchain development, and now we have confirmation that's what it is. It's called EVE Frontiers, and basically what they're saying is you're going to be playing a game not dissimilar from EVE from what I can tell, but a new game. People are referring to it as EVE 2.0, but in a way nobody wants. And the interesting thing about this, I guess, is they're basically going to allow players to develop in the game using coding languages and things, and essentially make the universe in this like immutable version of a sandbox MMO online, which I'm going to say, like, as someone who doesn't play EVE, as someone who doesn't really care from like my personal life, what happens to EVE Online, I'm interested in this purely from like an observation standpoint to see what exactly the fuck they're doing, how it pans out, and if there's anything in here we can take away and like look at other things in the future with. Because we've had games before where it's like, oh, you can do interesting things and you're going to be able to have jobs, like you're going to be able to make stuff in the game and then sell it for in-game currency to other people. And we've not massively seen that work out, but if a company could do it, my opinion is basically like EVE is the game and the company CCP that might have like the best shot. And I don't think like play to earn, this idea of playing games and earning money, can ever really work for one reason and one reason alone, although there are many others. The biggest being, as soon as you have a game where you've got real money tied to things, people put money into it, and then a bug happens, a duplicate, a glitch, like any kind of exploit, unintended gameplay that makes people like a bunch of money very quickly or whatever. And not only do you tank the in-game currency, which in sandbox games has a massively profound impact on how people play the game, how people interact with all the systems, whether people even continue playing the game, but when you're impacting people's money and people's like, I don't think this is a good idea, but people literally do put their savings into shit like this if they're really, invested into the idea of what it's going to be. when you fuck with people's money, what are you going to do as a developer? Like, oh, we've made this and people are using it, but it's broken and it's ruining the game. Do we A, let it continue and let the game die? Or do we B, nerf it, nerf people's real world money, and then have them quit? And essentially, every time you do that, you lessen your player base and makes it look fucking stupid. So just from that perspective, even ignoring the fact that most people want absolutely nothing to do with cryptocurrency games, purely off of the basis of it will be pay to win, which you can argue EVE Online already kind of is, with it being like an economy where people can buy subscription things called Plex and sell them for real money and you know, trade them amongst each other, and everything kind of has like a dollar value based on that, as far as I understand, which is a common thing that happens in games. Like if you look at World of Warcraft, same shit, WoW token, although obviously a theme park versus sandbox, there's limitations of how that money can be used. And if a company's going to be able to do it with the years and years of essentially having an RMT market and a market based on Plex and real world value, I think EVE probably has the best chance. But there's obviously big issues here, such as who the fuck have you made this game for? Because even if you want to go granular and you want to go line by line of what they're presenting EVE Frontier is, which right now all we have is them saying things, some leaked documents, and this trailer, which looks cool. But it's a like cinematic trailer. Like, what the fuck is this? You know, it tells us nothing about the minute-to-minute gameplay, what you're going to be doing, what it's going to look like. Is it going to be like EVE, where you're controlling a ship? Is it going to be, you know, X, Y, and Z? Nobody fucking really knows, other than some leaked documents. The problem is again, who is this game for? Because EVE is an incredibly niche game, right? EVE is a game that, love it or hate it, it's Marmite. The people who are really into it, and they're going to be continuing to play EVE. And then you have this game coming out, and if it's similar, where's the fan base coming from? If the EVE players don't move to it, it just dies. Like, I don't understand what the proposition here is. And obviously the fan base right now are raging because they've been playing EVE for so long. What they would have wanted is like a massive update to EVE, or a real EVE 2, where they can move on to like a new game that they've not obviously experienced in such a long time. But instead the money's gone into a cryptocurrency game, which they don't see value in, because why would they? If they wanted to play, you know, funny money gambling simulator, they could go do that on any number of the already released and fucking completely abject failed projects of the Web3 play to earn sphere. So obviously this article is quoting a bunch of stuff, basically saying, you know, these are all the titles from the subreddit and things, saying, you know, please don't do this, I love EVE, please don't ruin the game, you can walk this back. They absolutely can't. And then the article premise is, this sets me apart from the bulk of EVE Online's already existing community. It seems like EVE players have been suspicious of Frontier, known until yesterday's Project Awakening for a good long while now. And it doesn't seem like yesterday's unveil has assuaged them in any way. And basically he's saying, is it a he, is it a she? Joshua Wolens, that wrote this article for PC Gamer, he's saying, you know, hearing the pitch from the devs leaves me at least open to the possibility they were doing something interesting with the technology. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think this will fail. I think it will look stupid. I think it will be stupid. And I think we'll be proven right. But at the same time, because I have no personal involvement or interest in EVE, I want to see what they do. I want to see, you know, how does it fail? I want to see if they do something interesting that illuminates more problems with the play to earn sphere, or maybe it does do something successful. Maybe it's them that unlock it, that crack the code and prove everybody wrong, or maybe this is the exception to prove the rule of blockchain games being by and large fucking useless wastes of time and money. Because realistically, most blockchain games do the gaming thing backwards, right? What they do is, somebody shows up who has no fucking pedigree at all, no understanding of the games industry. Maybe they played Mario before, but they're like a marketing person or a fucking serial grifter that has entrepreneur in their Twitter header, and they say, oh, we're making a game, here's our crypto token and our NFTs and blah blah blah. And then 4 years later, after everyone's bought into all this bullshit, maybe they have like a demo area of a shit game, but they've sold like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff, and no game's ever going to come out from under that. That's like a weight that is so substantial that if that game ever did release, even if it was moderately okay, which they never are, because making games in the first place without this is very difficult, but even if it comes out and it's moderately okay, you've got every gamer in the world looking at it thinking, why would I go and play Surf Simulator in 2024 when my real life's already Surf Simulator? I already work in the Amazon warehouse for making a billionaire some more money. Why would I go play a game where all the stuff was purchased 4 years before the game was made, and to get in I now have to spend 10 grand for a piece of land or work for somebody else for pennies on the dollar, playing things that are probably not very fun to try and build my way up to the point where I can buy in to essentially what is a gameplay pyramid scheme. Like the prospect is completely just disqualifying immediately to most people that play games, because games, especially MMOs, are supposed to be, at least in your mind, not in reality, sort of like an equalizer. It's supposed to be a level playing field where you log on and you're kind of in the same place as everyone else and you have the same access to opportunity and opportunity cost. These games you don't. So the fact that they've not sold anything beforehand, maybe that can like play in and do something. Maybe it means that when the game comes out, there's going to be like a mad rush of people figuring things out and it's interesting to watch or experience. But at the same time, again, I don't see a market for this, because you're not getting the crypto people, because they're too busy speculating on whatever the fuck they're buying nowadays, whatever the new gaming thing is, the new NFT thing is, whatever they think is going to make them the most money. And then the gaming people are utterly repulsed by even the fucking notion, concept, or mention of anything related to cryptocurrency. For good reason, by the way. And I'm someone who's open-minded to this, as you can probably tell. I'm somebody who thinks it doesn't impact me whether these developers waste their money or some investors' money. So the article, basically, after quoting a bunch of people from social media, goes on to say some stuff. It says, CCP can take some comfort in the fact that at least the users on the official Frontier Discord, separate from the EVE Online one, are generally at least willing to hear the game out, which seems to be CCP's go-to messaging for the game. All I'm going to say, as always, says community dev CCP Jotun, is that before anyone draws any conclusions, they should check it out and then decide how they feel. If they're here for the Web3 tech and still hyped about it afterwards, then hell yeah, brother. I mean, that's fair, right? I think if you're an EVE player, you're probably already like turned off to this. Some people will want to give it a go and give them the benefit of the doubt because they played their game for so long that maybe they believe they can do something good with this. I think most bystanders are going to be like, come on, how many years are we in to all these big companies saying, oh yeah, blockchain's the future, oh, we're going to do it now, and where is it, guys? Like, surely in the last 5 years, we'd have seen something, right? We've seen fucking nothing. Not a single one of these companies, whether endemic to gaming or endemic to stealing money from people with cryptocurrency, has released anything exciting. And we already have the fucking blueprint for this, by the way. But you know what the blueprint relies on? It relies on critical success for it to work. Fucking Valve has been doing cryptocurrency NFTs for years without anybody noticing. But they've just done it in a way that enriches them, gives you like a little bit more freedom than other games do, but basically is completely within their control the entire time. It's called the Steam Marketplace. It's called tradable skins, and they've been doing it forever. And that works because Valve's games are vastly popular, and they have this little thing called Steam that has all the games on it, and they can just do whatever the fuck they want, and it will probably work out if it's even remotely viable in any way. But obviously other games have not done anything like this. If you converted Valorant skins into NFTs and just said, okay, now you've got these skins, you can just trade them amongst each other, sell them on a secondary market, I'm just going to say that would be almost universally better for consumers than what you currently have, which is locked into an ecosystem of you buy something, you use it, it's locked to your account, they ban you, you quit, whatever happens, and then that shit's gone. I think having like ownership of your skins is like a decent selling point. But the problem is that it has no value unless the game is very popular. Because from a development standpoint for the company, why would you lose money? Like, it makes sense for a game that's already very popular because they'd probably earn that money back from charging transactional fees on purchasing and selling. But if you've just got a game and you can just make a skin and spaff it out onto your player base for like, oh, buy this gun for $20 and then buy this next gun next week for $20, it makes no fucking sense to do it. And obviously, unless you already have something vastly popular, people are just going to be turned off from the idea right from the get-go. So this shit has never worked. When you do it that's not just skins, it makes the game just... It is Peasant Simulator, because you either spend all the money and have people working your land, metaphorically, or you spend no money and you're an actual, like, walking around eating rats in the street, like sucking the bones of rats. Fucking dirt shoveling simulator where you're working land for other people. And we provably had this with the most popular example of play to earn already. It was called Axie Infinity. They got hacked by North Korea and lost fucking like $1 billion or something because they're utterly useless. And their game basically revolved around a bunch of rich people buying NFTs of little weird fucking Pokemon creatures and then renting them to people in the Philippines who would earn like $1 a day playing 12 hours a day of some dog shit game that nobody cared about. And then obviously what happened was people realized the bubble popped, all those people got fucked, and a bunch of people made money off of essentially third world labor. So I'm just confused as to where these bigwigs think like this audience comes from that's gonna, you know, bridge the divide between people who just want to earn money at any opportunity whatsoever, any cost whatsoever, and people that just want to play a video game. Like Eve, again, already is such a niche experience that they're already playing Eve. This game's got to be like, it's got to be amazing for them to care about this shit, because you're giving them something. If it's basically reskinned Eve for crypto people, I'm going to piss. Like, I'm actually going to piss my pants, because that will just be the dumbest waste of money I've ever seen in my life. But he does say something interesting. If people want to play the game specifically to blow up crypto speculators, then hell yeah to that as well. That will be funny, you know. If all the Eve people just like start one corporation, move over to this game for like the first 2 weeks or whatever, and just utterly use their knowledge of the game to utterly grief the fuck out of anybody that joins that isn't endemic to Eve, that would be hilarious. I think that would be like a way to style this one out and just be like, double fuck you to the company. Like, we'll just ruin the opportunity of anyone getting into this game because we'll just take all their stuff. Mostly it seems like CCP is quite a long road to hoe if it ever wants to win its currently existing player base over to Frontier. And I'll be very curious to see if it manages it once Eve Frontier becomes available outside of closed playtests. I'd be interested to look at this just because, you know, there aren't many games doing sandbox MMOs anymore. It's my preferred type of MMO, essentially. If it does have to come with like the Web3 shite, then I guess we'll just see sandboxes dead, and I'll just have to be happy playing other things in older games. But I'm willing to take a look. I think it's super healthy and completely reasonable to have an immediate like visceral reaction to this dog shit news. But at the same time, who knows? You know, stranger things have happened. Maybe it'll be interesting. Maybe it'll be cool. Maybe it'll do something. And we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not going to write it off immediately, even though, as I've just gone through like a 15-minute tirade, I think Web3, cryptocurrency, gaming, and all those things just don't mix. It's like oil and water, basically. But I'm willing to be proven wrong. I'm willing to be as open-minded as I can, and then let them basically have enough rope to hang themselves with on this one. So we'll end this article out. CCP does manage to get these players on board. It'll be a turnaround of historic proportions. I hope it does, of course. Like I say, some of the ideas CCP spoke to me about sound genuinely fascinating, but still plenty of questions, especially about monetization and, well, the United States Treasury, that need answering before I'm willing to commit to anything beyond curiosity. EVE Online's existing players, meanwhile, will be harder to win over. Still, if it all goes wrong, a player named Rally FW has a plan. The best possible outcome here is that a bunch of crypto bros try this game, it sucks, and they come to EVE instead, where we can slowly degrade their indoctrination and or scam them into buying Enyo coin. Right. I think that's funny, but at the same time, crypto people don't want to play games, bro. I'm just going to say that at the end of this video. Crypto people don't care about playing games. Crypto people care about speculating on crypto things, and they use the idea that it's a game to lie to other people, to say like, oh, this is going to be the best game ever, I can't wait to play. But they're usually like 40 years old, don't play video games, don't care about video games, and they just want to extract value. They're fucking leechers, basically. It's very rare for that to not be the case, and they obviously have came up speculating on things that haven't existed, don't exist, and probably never will exist, and that's what they're used to. I've said this a million times. The actual antithesis to the idea of speculation is to create a product. Like, when these crypto games come out, they always just lose money immediately, because the fantasy of oh, it could be the best game ever is always more powerful to the market than the reality of it's probably not going to be that good. It's probably not going to come out and be Dota 2. It's probably not going to come out and be World of Warcraft. It's probably not going to come out and be Valorant or whatever. It's going to come out and, like the majority of games in existence from companies that have been making games for decades, that have some of the most talented people in the industry, not pushing a technology that utterly repulses gamers, they come out and they're like, oh yeah, that's okay, that's mediocre, that sucks. Basing your financial future or your hopes and dreams or whatever, both as a gamer or as an investor, into like, oh, I'm sure this game's going to be the best game ever, is otherwise my money goes to zero, is utterly fucking stupid. And that's kind of where play to earn is as a concept, because again, most of the time you're basically crowdfunding stupid people who have no idea about anything related to games, who say, I'm making Star Citizen, that also doesn't fully exist yet, and I'm going to do it as a relative newcomer to the industry, and all I need is your money. Oh, and it'll have NFTs and our own cryptocurrency called Give Me Money Token. But there we go. I'll link the article in the video description. You can go check it out. Definitely go check out Gamer Sups as well. You can go buy some waifu cups, some waifu juice. It's a powder, you put it in water, you shake it, you drink it, get caffeinated, uncaffeinated versions. 10% discount code in the video description. And let me know if you want to see me cover anything. I've got some stuff that people have been suggesting to me I'll get to in the next few days. And yeah, we'll wait and see. I'm not going to close my mind after this, but at the same time, this shit doesn't work. But if there is one company that can make it work, they have the ultimate amount of experience that can do at least something interesting with it, then we'll see, because this is the company, I guess. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you next time, hopefully. Peace.